I touch people with words. Welcome to Poetically Thinking. I'm your host, Kim B. Miller. Words can touch you, cut you, heal you, complete you, and destroy you. Let's talk. Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of podcast Poetically Thinking. I am your host, Kim B. Miller. Let's get into it. No one can feed you enough. No one can feed you happiness. No one can feed you hope. Think about it. Let's get into it. Let's talk. A little bit of background. My name is Kim B. Miller. I'm an author, facilitator, motivational speaker, and teaching artist. I am Prince William County Poet Laureate Emerita, the first African American Poet Laureate for Prince William County. So what am I talking about when I say no one can feed you enough? Enough is not a vitamin. Enough is not a vitamin. You're supposed to have your own building block, your own basis, your own foundation. I hate when those memes and sayings and phrases come up. I can't wait to meet the person who's going to make me happy and erase everything that people have done before me. No. You heard me. No. That person doesn't exist. Oh, actually, that person does exist. The person is you. You're supposed to be whole for the other person who you're trying to get in your life. They're not supposed to come and make you whole. That's not their job. Loving you is not an occupation. You are supposed to be working on you. Someone can make you happier, but they cannot make you happy. Because if that gives them all ownership of everything that concerns you, that's not the job. You're not a job. You're not an assignment. You're not something to decipher. You're someone to get to know. Everybody has their preferences, of course. But there's no one that's supposed to come and wipe away things that happened in your past. That's something you should be working on. Therapy is not a curse word. I'm going to say it again. Therapy is not a curse word. Because you're giving too much of your ownership to someone else. And I want you to think about that as I play this haiku. Haiku. If you give them the key to your joy, when they leave, they can take the lock. Did you hear what I said? You're giving complete control of your happiness, your well-being, everything that concerns the core of who you are to someone else. And then when they don't live up to a standard that they can never complete, you blame them for not doing what they were never supposed to do in the first place. They weren't supposed to complete you. You were supposed to be complete. They weren't supposed to give you joy. They can add to your existing joy, but they weren't supposed to light a fire in your soul, light a fire in your heart. That's your job. You are your own responsibility. But we have turned this around to make the significant person in our life currently or the next victim, main person that we're looking for, that's their sole responsibility. If I'm unhappy, they did something to make me unhappy. It couldn't be that I read the situation wrong or I didn't come with the right tools to decipher or make this relationship what it should be. It's their job. It's their fault. They should have done this. They should. Where is ownership? Where is it? Because right now we're living in relationships and marriages where everything is the other person. Everything. Nothing is you. Well, they did this and it really made me mad. Is that based on something that happened in your childhood? Or I'm not saying people don't make people mad. So don't go in the comments talking about I'm thinking rainbows and sunshine. I've been married over 20 years. I know everything is not rainbows and sunshine. But what I am saying, I know some of this stuff is my responsibility, my fault, my baggage. And if you never look at it from that perspective, then they always will be able could have done this better. They weren't enough. They didn't make me feel such and such. They should make you feel included. They should make you feel loved. Absolutely. But you should make you feel loved also. That's not totally someone else's responsibility. And when you give someone else a total responsibility of that, then you lose who you are every time that relationship ends. So once the relationship ends, as the haiku says, they take the lock because you made them everything. No one, Kimism, don't make anybody your everything because that makes you nothing. You gotta be able to speak for you, not just from this head, this mind, but from the heart and from the soul. We have to be able to speak for us. And I know what you're thinking, well, that's a rough period there when you're not really sure who you are and who you're not, and who wants to be bothered someone in those beginning stages of life. You know, that's like cocoon to butterfly sort of thinking. That's like, you know, beginning and you're starting to get on your feet sort of thinking. The right person will. And if you address it as such, if you address like, well, of course, nobody says this, but if you would say, hey, you're here to make my whole life complete, you're here to make everything right, you're here to erase everything that someone did before me. And on top of that, make me happy now and somehow find a little happiness for you in there, but it's all about me. The other person would be running, and rightfully so. So what are you asking from them? It's one thing for you to honor where they are in their journey, and it's one thing for them to honor where you are in your journey. But some of us aren't doing any honoring. We're just doing a lot of expecting. So maybe this Kimism will help put it in perspective. Kimism. If they could not be bothered with you while you were in your cocoon, don't let them interrupt you now that you're flying. I said what I said. I said what I said. Don't let people interrupt you on your path, the way you fly, because they say a couple of things that'll heal this part of you that you should be healing yourself. You should be healing yourself, whether through therapy, whether through whatever it is you need to do, but making that person a sole responsibility of your day-to-day, second to second, minute to minute self-worth. It's called self-esteem for a reason. Because you need to guard who you are. Because if someone is the sole responsibility of your self-esteem, then it's not self-esteem, it's given esteem. And then they can change that based on the mood, based on anger, based on an outburst, based on their own baggage. Where are you with your self-esteem, self-love, mental health? Getting yourself right is not something horrible. Sometimes we're like, well, the person who loves me will take me as I am. Okay, that's great. And ultimately you're correct. But it doesn't mean they take you as you are and you have no work to do. You're good as you are. They know your faults. Too bad. You knew me when, this baggage to you, blah, blah, blah. All these things, loose phrases and cliches we come up with that's going to make you miserable and them miserable. Ultimately, there'll be things that'll take a long time to work out. Absolutely. But the working out part is something that a lot of us are skipping on. It's the here I am part. Three-part people. Three-part people. Mental, physical, spiritual. And a lot of us work on the physical and forget the rest. Yeah, we look good, but ooh, you ain't never seen pretty garbage till you seen some of us. Saying. If you don't know, I'm always going to be one that tells the truth. And I meant to mention earlier what a haiku is. So a haiku is a beautiful form of poetry. It's a Japanese art form. And it's 17 syllable. Traditional ones are only on nature. Those are called haiku. By the way, fun fact, haiku is both singular and plural. And there's also something called senryu. Now, senryu is also 17 syllables, and there's more than one haiku. but I'm talking about the 5751. Sin writing was the most popular one that most spoken word poets do. And basically, we've kind of even twisted that meaning of what it could be. It said human follies, but we kind of stretched it a little further. So, a sin writing can be on any subject. So, just a little background. And chemisms are just my sayings. Now, back to the subject. Self awareness is key. If you don't pull back, self aware, self examine, self realize who you are and who you aren't, so you can work on the parts that you don't like, how are you supposed to improve? We can't just wait until we're in a relationship to start saying, "Mm, maybe it's time to start looking at, things I could do." You want to do that before you get in a relationship. How many times have you dated someone you're like, well, this is some work they should have done before now. Why are they waiting to get in a relationship and bring on that baggage? Well, guess what? You have baggage too. Just because yours is neatly packed doesn't mean it's not baggage nonetheless. Or cuter, or, etc. Haiku. Get counseling. Your mate is not your therapist. They're your victim. Or they can be, at least. A lot of you, that's 100% correct. They are your victim. So decide. Decide if you're going to be whole before you get in that relationship, as opposed to putting all of that take care of me, make me whole, shining armor, white horse, picket fence nonsense that was never true even when it was stated. It wasn't. Make your own standard. But a standard can't come from an unhealthy mind. A standard needs to start from truth. What truth do you know about you? And if you say, I've been fine, I've been dating all my life, or blah, 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 I've never no trouble getting no man, woman, no they, I'm good, blah, blah, blah. Non-binary, I'm just good. Just because you've had no trouble getting them, how is it going in the keeping department? How? Keeping's different, isn't it? Not to mention, even if you keep them, that doesn't mean that you're doing great. This just means they may not want to look, or they're comfortable, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are so many circumstances around that. And we really need to stop saying, well, so and so, I've been here for blah, blah, blah. Just because, chemism. Miss me with how many years you've been miserable. Again, people stay for different reasons, and I'm not saying your relationship is miserable or you are miserable. What I really need you to hear is that self-work, that self-examination, your happiness, your joy starts within. And a lot of us, and I see these memes and all these people amening it, like, yeah, yeah, that's right. You tell them what? I can't wait for someone who's going to wash this pain away. That person is you. You're that person. You're the person you're waiting for. Get you whole so you don't drag someone into the deep ditch that you're living in. So two people can live in a ditch? Is that the goal? And if you've done the work, you know it's a continuous process. It's not a one and done thing. It's not, well, I looked at myself 10 years ago and I'm good now. It's a consistent thing you're going to have to do, so you can check in with yourself and say, how am I doing today? Because we evolve, we change. The things that made us mad before don't make us mad now. We're different people. Every day we're changing, and we have to adjust to the changes that we're making as people. We can't just go, well, I self-examined myself 10 years ago, so I know I'm good. Okay, that was 10 years ago. Who are you today? Who are you today? And ladies, men are not the only ones with issues. I said it. Haiku. Stop blaming men for having baggage when you have a storage unit. Again, we all have issues to work on. We all have something we need to be better at. There's not a person on this planet who doesn't have to self-examine, decide what to do better, learn some things. Therapy is if necessary or needed, and try to be a better person than we were yesterday. Because that's who we're competing against. We're competing against ourselves yesterday. We're trying to make ourselves happier than we did yesterday, better than we did yesterday, fuller than we were yesterday. Learning, walking, believing in ourselves. So again, it starts here. Here. It starts within. Hope you're hearing me. I hope you're listening. This is never going to be about beating you up. This is never going to be about making you feel small. Everything I say is so that hopefully you'll learn and you'll grow and you'll be a better you than you were yesterday. That's my goal every single day. So it says at the beginning, I touch people with words, and the whole purpose is to plant a seed that you'll water and grow and take care of yourself. So I'm going to leave you with my closing haiku punch. Thank you for listening. See you next month. Thank you for tuning in to episode number 2. Here is my haiku. Though it ends in S, happiness is not plural. All you need is you.